Breaking news, everybody. Um, Obama orders 1 million U.S. troops to prepare for civil war. Just out today, Russian military and analysts are reporting to Prime Minister Putin that U.S. President Barack Obama has issued orders to his northern commands, Northcom top leader, U.S. Air Force General Gene Reinhardt, to begin immediately increasing his military forces to 1 million troops by January 30th, 2010, in what these reports warn is an expected outbreak of civil war within the United States before the end of winter. If Obama signs our sovereignty and freedom away and brings foreign troops to suppress our freedom, will you fight back? Answer this question now on our poll at the top. Okay, this is the poll that they have here. According to these reports, Obama has had over these past numerous meetings with his war council about how best to manage the expected implosion of his nation's banking system, while at the same time attempting to keep the United States military hegemony over the world in what Russian military analysts state is a last-ditch gambit whose success is far from certain. And to Obama's last-ditch gambit, these reports continue, he is to announce in a nationwide address to his people this coming week that he is going to expand the level of U.S. military forces in Afghanistan by tens of thousands of troops, while at the same time using the deployment of these soldiers as a cover for returning to the United States over 200,000 additional American soldiers from the over 800 bases in over 39 countries they have stationed around the globe, bringing the level of these forces in America to over 1 million, a number the U.S. military believes will be able to contain the explosion of violence expected to roil these peoples when they learn their economy has been bankrupted. Okay, this is what we're talking about, guys. These reports further state that at the same time Obama will be attempting to keep his nation from violent disintegration. The tens of thousands of additional troops he will send to Afghanistan are to be ordered to Kandahar, where the Americans and their NATO allies will begin their final attempt to secure their TAPI, Turkestan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India pipeline, which without the Western nations, due to their grave lack of alternative energy sources and being cut off from these vast Central Asian supplies, are warned will totally collapse, making the Americans, by the extension of the West situation, even worse. Are new reports coming from the International Energy Agency stating that under pressure from the U.S. government, they have been deliberately underplaying a looming global oil shortage for fear of triggering panic buying and raising the Americans' fears over the end of the oil supremacy, because it would threaten their power over access to our world's last remaining oil sources. To the scariest endgame maneuvers being made by Obama in his attempt to protect American global hegemony is his record-shattering move in plunging the United States $3.5 trillion further into debt, and which raises the total amount owed by the United States to its citizens and the world to the unprecedented height of over $106 trillion. So alarming has Obama's actions become, especially since they are being initiated by all of the Western powers, that the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, Dominion Strauss-Kahn, warned this past week that the stimulus actions of the West, which in essence is nothing more than the printing of money with nothing to back it up, has now become a threat to democracy, as millions of people are expected to erupt in violence against their governments over the theft of their money and their futures. Most unfortunately for the American people, though, is that the IMF warning fell on deaf ears in the United States, with the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis President James Bullard saying this week that the U.S. would continue its stimulus actions because they, quote, would give more flexibility to U.S. policymakers, a most absurd statement, especially when viewed in light of the unprecedented debt payments currently looming over the American economy. They have no ability whatsoever to pay. To the ability of the West banking giants to save their nation's economy, Even worse news came this week with the U.S. ratings giant Standards and Poor's issuing a warning that every single bank in Japan, the U.S., Germany, Spain, and Italy, including the S&P's list of 45 global lenders, remain unsafe, unquote. A warning which then led to one of Europe's largest banks, Societe Generale, warning its clients to prepare for a total global economic collapse. To the fears of Obama over the United States erupting into civil war once the full extent of the rape and pillaging of these peoples by their banks and government becomes known to them, grim evidence now shows the likelihood of this occurring much sooner than later, especially in the new poll figures showing Obama's approval rating among white Americans has now fallen to 39%, a number made more significant when one realizes that the white population of the United States comprises 74% of their estimated 398 million citizens, or more ominously in these reports, as over 220 million American people armed to the teeth and ready to explode. Okay, you guys want to read this article? I'll put a link to the right of this video. You're going to want to check it out. It's what I've been hearing is happening behind the scenes too, and what's really happening to really show you guys how they're basically trying to hide what's really going on, so that it just basically surprises and puts everybody in a state of shock, panic, and fear when it does hit. So this is all coming down right now, guys. This is happening right now. So be prepared, stock up, get out of the cities, prepare yourselves with food, ammo, alternative sources of power, and try to get out of locations that are going to be, where there's going to be a lot of military action or troops. God bless everybody.